Welcome back to Barbecue and Bottles, and today we're going to show you how you can save between $250 and $500 by carving your own New York strips out of a full strip loin like this. We even bought a freezer with the savings and we had money left over. So if you're into that kind of thing, stick around. So the first thing we're going to do is just cut into this. Now that we've got this out of the packaging, we're just going to take a bunch of paper towel and get this nice and dry. We'll get out all of the juice or the void that's left in the packaging, flip it over, get the same on the fat cap. So when picking out your loin, you want to go for the highest quality of beef. And here we've got a Canadian AAA. This is actually the equivalent of USDA choice. And we've got some strong marbling right in here along the side. And as we cut into that, the marbling will come through our steak. So sometimes that's a little bit hard to see when you're picking this out and they're still covered in the vacuum wrap, but do your best to just look at the edge of your loin and get one that's highly marbled. Now at this point, we've got the fat cap here on this side. We're not actually going to trim our fat cap at this stage. Once we slice our steaks, I'll show you how to trim them down at the end. But what we are gonna do is just trim up the back of our steaks here a little bit. So we'll get off some of this fat here. And this is on the non-fat cap side. Now you can just trim this to your own flavor preference. Now there's a nice, good, thick fat cap on the other side of this, so I'm not too worried about over trimming on this side. Now that we've got this trimmed up, we want to mark off our steaks, and I'd really recommend that you carve your steaks at least 1.5 inches thick. 3 of our fingers is 1.5 inches. We're just going to go down the strip loin here using 3 of our fingers. We're going to mark off where we're going to be cutting this strip loin. Now all we're doing here are making slats in the strip loin. We're not actually carving through, and I'll show you how we carve through right after this. Now the last one, it's a little bit of a thick boy, so that's good. And that'll be for someone who's really hungry. Now, you can either use a chef's knife like this. We've got a 9.5-inch chef's knife here, and that'll be that extra length versus just an 8-inch chef's knife is going to be really key if you're carving through a full strip loin like that. Or you can use a carving knife, a serrated brisket carver like this one. Because we've got the 9.5-inch chef's knife, I'm going to go with that one, but just something to keep in mind with your knife selection. So now what you're going to want here is you only want to slice in one direction, and that direction is coming back. So you want to plant the heel of your chef's knife into the loin and then come back evenly like this. Just press down. There we are. Now you'll see we obviously didn't get all the way through the loin. So what we're going to do, start again, plant the heel of the chef's knife and come all the way back through that same cut. Just keep repeating that until you've cut into your full steak. All right, now we'll do that with our next one here. Again, heel of the knife in, pull back. Heel of the knife in, pull back. What you want to avoid is going back and forth. It'll create a serrated cut through your steak, and we just want a clean carve all the way through. Now we're just going to cut up the rest of these here. We'll fast forward and then show you how to trim up each of these steaks. Now that we've got these steaks sliced up here, I'll show you how to trim one. We really like a thick fat cap, so we're not going to trim up all of these. We actually like the thickness of the fat cap that came with this particular loin, but I'm going to show you in case your preference is different than ours. So you can see here, we've got the fat cap along the top side. Now if you want to get rid of some of that, all you do, we're using a boning knife here, just come in like this and carve it down to your preference. Now remember, fat is flavor, and as you do these reverse sear, or even if you're searing these in cast iron, This fat cap is gonna render down, become super tender, and add some incredible flavor to your steaks. So I urge you, please don't cut all of this off, but I wanna show you the technique anyway. So just like that. Now I've got a trimmed up New York strip, beautiful steak right here. Narrower fat cap, you can cut the whole thing off if you want, but that's how we've just done a light trim on this guy. So this whole loin at the start was a little over 13 pounds. We've cut that into 10 steaks here. So I'm just gonna pull one of these out and we're just gonna set it down here on the scale. Wow, these are big boys. These are probably closer to 2 inches thick, 564 grams. That's 19.1 ounces. So these are really thick steaks. They're gonna be perfect for doing reverse sear on the grill. Now we're just gonna vac seal these guys. And for vac sealing, we're actually gonna seal 2 of these in each bag. And that's because we're usually cooking for 2 people. Now we'll just take 2 New York strips and we'll place them in our bag like this. And the beauty about New York strips is they're relatively small. So we should be able to fit 2 into a bag fairly easily like this. And now we'll just go in and vac seal it. Now we can put these guys in the freezer and these will save for months. We've already done a video that shows that if you freeze a steak, there isn't really a distinguishable texture difference between a fresh steak when you de-thaw it. So this is our new method. We're just gonna cut our own strip loins and freeze them. So the technique, if you don't have a vac seal machine, is just get a large stock pot, fill it up with water, and then if you take a Ziploc bag, just a regular freezer bag, and you stick your steaks in it, much like we were stuffing the vac seal bags here. Now, to get all the air out, the little trick is you just dunk this in the pot, submerge the bag like that. The water will actually eliminate all of the air out of the bag, and then you just seal it up like this. Perfect. Now you've got this ready for the freezer, and it's not quite as airtight as if you've got a vac sealer, but it's pretty good, and hopefully the seal doesn't come free while it's in the freezer. So there we have it. There's steaks for me and the missus. So let's just get the rest of these steaks done in packages of 2, and then we'll talk you through the savings here. So here we have it. We've got 5 2-packs of New York strips, custom cut off of our full strip loin. This is super easy. It's taken us about 20 minutes to do all of this. Now, I want to break down the math on this for you. We got a 13.4 pound strip loin from Costco. That worked out to be $11.11 a pound. So for this guy, it was just shy of 150 bucks. Now we compared 3 of the most popular online butchers in the United States, and we took a look at their non-prime New York strips. So getting 10 strip loins for 150 bucks, that means you've saved anywhere between $250 to $500 American just by taking the 20 to 30 minutes to cut your own New York strips, and you can get them the thickness you want with the fat cap that you want. There's just a whole other bunch of benefits that come along with carving up your own steaks. So I put 2 of the steaks in the fridge, the rest in the freezer, and we're done for this video. If you want to see our video that compares a frozen steak versus a fresh steak, just to show you that we can't really tell a difference between the 2, that video will be right over here for you to click. Otherwise, consider giving this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.